from my right. This is Ashley. She's playing Esther.
Okay.
This is Doc. He's playing George. So
Hi,
can you
Doc.
stop here?
George.
Oh, they're coming?
Yeah, she's right.
I'm not sure. Okay. It's Isaac, actually. No, I think so. I don't know. She was kind of cool. This is Jason. He's the
Hi.
artistic director and Mr. Marks.
Hi.
Hi.
Do we need to move it a little bit, Jason, so we can see you?
We can scoot it back a little bit if we want to put like
Not even- I mean,
Yes, we can see everybody's lovely face.
This is Megan.
Yeah.
She plays
Hi,
Van
Megan.
Buren, Buren, and she's also the arts education director for the festival.
Okay,
Theater. And
nice.
this is Cheyenne. She's playing Mayme.
She's my co-satiric.
Hello. And Charla Marie, she's playing Mrs. Dickson.
Oh, the hilarious Mrs. Dickson. Nice. So nice to meet you all. I'm so happy to be here and or virtually and talk to the actors, fellow actors. So I guess we can start with the central character, Ashley portraying Esther. Well, first, if you all can mind telling me like what your acting background experience is, and then we'll go, and then you can go telling your name and the character you'll be portraying and what drew you to this particular character.
Awesome. I am originally from South Carolina, and that's where I got my BA in theater from the University of South Carolina. And I've been acting now for a little over 6-7 years. And so I found festival theater last summer through some mutual friends who had worked with the theater, and I had a blast. And so Jason told me late last year that they were going to do this show, and I read the script and it was like an absolute yes. It is so good. The script is so unique in the way that it's written and how each character is so essential to this woman kind of living for herself, for the most part, which is really fun to see in 1900 New York. So that was one thing. And then B, actually, giving up parts of herself for what she thinks she should do, and then ending up back at square one. Like, what? Absolutely. And in this town, which is predominantly white. So I'm really excited to be here in this city doing a Black show with a Black cast and like a Black director. And so I really didn't want to pass up this opportunity personally to tell such an important story.
Beautiful, right on. Okay, so let's head over to the gentleman playing George, Doc. Hi, Doc.
Hello.
So if you want to express to me or to us, like your experience and what about that character really draws you in?
Experience for me acting has been in the Twin Cities over the last 10 years consistently. This is my first show here at Festival Theater. Jason saw me at a show in the Twin Cities and called and asked if I wanted to audition for this show, and definitely wanted to after I read the script. So for George, he is an interesting person because I believe he is just trying to find his way, trying to make a name for himself and not go down the same route that his parents did, not continue that historical trauma that he has dealt with. And to be working in Panama in 1900 with everything that was going on, disease, slavery was going on then. And so for him to find someone that he could write to and then travel halfway across the world to meet this woman that he's never met, I believe he's a man after my own heart in a sense that he doesn't give up. And I think he's misunderstood. I think he uses people as a means to an end, not necessarily to hurt them, but to better his way of life. I can't see your face, but I see something.
No, he doesn't have like, it's not like male, it's not like,
He doesn't have heinous intentions.
Yeah.
New York changes him.
Yeah.
I think New York changes him. He came in with the mindset of what he wanted to do and how he wanted to perceive it. And the world it didn't let him. I mean, we're talking about systemic racism still going on now as it was back then, and not finding the job that he wanted. And he had a lot on his shoulders, and to have to deal with it, and then to have to lean on a woman for that. I think that he's never had to do that. So to have to deal with that dichotomy, that's hard to deal with, and succumb to what most Black men then did, and then to see how he is, what's the word I'm looking for here? How he's seen throughout the play. For me, it's personal to try to change minds in the sense of looking past just what he's done and see him for his struggle.
Beautiful, right on. Okay, so the actress inhabiting the role of Mayme, Cheyenne. Did I say it right?
Yeah, Cheyenne.
Okay, right on, beautiful. So go ahead and express to us what your experience is, and then what about this character really captivates you?
So I'm a Alabama, Georgia native. All of my acting has been in Alabama. This is my first time here in Wisconsin. I graduated from Auburn University, where my professor is a colleague of Jason.
Shout out to Jason. Jason, you're getting a lot of shout outs tonight.
Right? And so she actually sent me the audition information for them, and I was definitely afraid I wasn't gonna get it, but then Jason was just like, no, we want you. I was like, okay. And then I flew out here and I was like, all right, so I'm supposed to play this homewrecker who is like messing with her best friend's man. And so when I actually got into it, I was like, no, she's deeper than that. This is a woman who's like making her own money. She has her own business. And it was like when we were working on it, we discovered that this relationship with Esther is like stronger than I was giving it at first. That is a best friend. Like, we've known each other for a long time, and she and Mayme were like close. We have this relationship where it's like, you know, I don't have the money right now, but I'll give it to you because, you know, we do things together. I'm giving you this money because you're giving me a way to help influence my business. And then I'm helping influencing your business because I'm wearing this thing that you made me. Yeah. And so like, not only that, but she finds hope and love in George. And then for him to, as I figured it out, he played the both of us. Yeah. And I don't like that.
Nice.
So I try to bring that to the character. She definitely gives that I'm not gonna play with you kind of person.
Okay. Okay, right on. And then we have Charla portraying Mrs. Dickson. Yes. That character is so funny. So go ahead and express the same thing everyone has expressed, like what drew you to the character and what your experience is as an actress.
Okay. My name is Charla Marie Bailey, and I'm originally from Chicago.
Hey,
and I live out in the St. Paul area in Minnesota. I've been acting for at least 25 years. Started out modeling. I do film, television, theater, voiceover, hosting, stuff like that. So I'm doing it all. I want to be famous.
Nice.
And I came by this role here at this theater because a friend of mine, I believe, worked with this theater before. And she reached out to me, and I put it in this group that I run on Facebook, and I'm not sure if there were any bites or not, but she said you should really apply. And so I sent in an audition, right, Jason? I sent in an audition. And I was like, I'm not sure which character I'm auditioning for, because I knew that they had 2 roles open, but I figured it might be Mrs. Dickson. I've seen this play done twice in the past, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I tell someone that I like this play, that I enjoyed it so much, and then tell them what it's about, it kind of seems really dark. And I'm like, but
Yeah,
right? But I'm like, I don't know. I must have seen something else in it that drew me to it, you know.
Their humanity.
Strength, yeah, you know. And as far as what I see with Mrs. Dickson is she is a mother figure. I feel like she looks at Esther as her own child, and it's been 18 years, you know, and that's how long you rear up your own child before they go out into the world on their own. And that's exactly how long it's been for us, you know, her being here. And I try to play matchmaker with her. I've probably played matchmaker with the other girls in my house that lives in my boarding house. I get angry at her, you know, like a mother would her child, like, you're not listening to me, kid. And I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to protect you. And then I get to see her go, and then I have to have the talk with her. You know, I give her a little sex ed talk and send her on her way, you know, and try and give her a little advice about how to, you know, survive in a marriage and everything like that. And then she comes back home, and I'm like, my baby's back, you know, and we're going to be one big happy family. So.
Okay, thank you. And then we have Megan. No, is it Megan playing Mrs. Van Buren?
Yes, it is. Hi.
Let's talk.
Yes. So my name is Megan Hanks. I'm an Arizona native. I was born and raised out in Arizona. I went to the University of Arizona in Tucson, where I got my degree in theater and in creative writing, focused in poetry. I've been doing theater ever since I was a kid. I was a part of community theater and things like that. And then I took it into college. And after graduating college, I moved out to the Twin Cities, where I worked for a while throughout Minneapolis and around the metro. And then actually stumbled upon this theater because my partner got an internship here. And we kind of made our way out in this direction. And I've been the arts education director now for a couple of months. But I have worked on staff and been a part of a variety of productions here as an actor since probably about 2018 or 2019. And I love this company. I love what we do here with what we can. I think that something that really excited me about this production, like Ashley was saying, was that this is a story that celebrates Black artistry and Black excellence. And I think that this is something that's very important for our predominantly white community to absorb.
Right on.
I'm proud to stand next to these actors and to put on this art as a white person and to confront systemic racism, to confront my own internalized racisms that obviously the world is talking about and approaching now. And so I feel very humbled and I feel honored to do that with these amazing actors. I think something else that I really look forward to with this show specifically was the costume design, because it is absolutely stellar. I am lucky. I'm so lucky that I get to wear 2 different beautifully handmade corsets. Our costume designer, Emma Kravig, is very talented and very detail oriented. So every piece of lingerie or every corset that you see in this show has literally been handmade from scratch for our bodies specifically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And I was trying on patterns and corset like fittings probably months ago. And I just could tell that Emma was putting so much time and energy into this. And I think that's so important to this play because that's literally the title of the show. You know, it's about this. So I was super excited for that. And for Mrs. Van Buren, it's
she's a complicated character because she comes across as very happy-go-lucky and just there to have a great time and there to just kind of gossip and enjoy her life. But I think deep down, she is very lonely. She's very flawed. She's in a failed marriage. She's a very lonesome person. She's in our production, we're kind of playing her as an alcoholic as well. In every scene I'm drinking, kind of to excess, you know, she's taking shots. And so, I think there's something deep and there's something sad about the character. And I won't give any spoilers or anything, but I think that the final scene between Esther and Mrs. Van Buren is something that really just rocks me every time as an actor. It like makes me emotional even thinking about it right now. But this play brings up a lot of very modern, everyday questions that I think that the world is dealing with right now, especially in regards to queerness, in regards to Blackness. And I think that even though it is set in 1905, it feels very modern. And I feel like, costumes aside, this play is truly confronting things that I think about every day as Megan. So I guess that's kind of a long answer, but
no, it's fine. So Jason from Mr. Marks. Jason, yes, we've been shouting out all night. Okay, Jason, let's go.
Yes, my name is Jason Richards. I am in my 5th year here as the Executive Artistic Director at Festival Theatre. I was really drawn to this play. A friend of mine asked me if I had read it, and I hadn't, but I had read other plays by Lynn Nottage, and so I was interested in it. And then as I was reading it, I was really struck by the story, and I thought, how can Festival Theatre do this? But we need to do this play. It's an important play, and I as an artistic director, I need to provide a platform for these voices and for this type of work, and so it was important for me to do it. But also the play really talks a lot, to me, it talks about loneliness and what people do to combat that, whether it's good or bad, but how we try to fight that. And I felt like that was speaking to us as humanity, as we get through, you know, with COVID and having to like isolate ourselves, and then feeling like when I subtract humans from my life, what do I have left? And that took an impact on me, and it was a toll to say, like, I need these people in my life, and it makes me better. And it was trying to deal with that loneliness that I felt, that I saw in this play, that everybody felt that loneliness, and they wanted to reach out in any way they could to satiate that. And it works out for some and doesn't work out for others. And so that I like also plays that don't wrap it up with a bow at the end. I like when you're left with more questions than answers. I like when art does that to its audience. So, and I feel like Mr. Marks is that way. That there's a lot of questions at the end of his sort of storyline, like what happens next? Does he finally get what he wants, or is he not strong enough to do that? Or, you know, so I'm interested to have that conversation with our audience when we have like a talk back or something like that.
Okay, right on.
And can I say, I'm glad that he brought that up. I'd never even thought about that loneliness. Yeah, everybody is dealing with the loneliness. And also, I'm glad that you all picked a Black female director to direct the Black female play.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It was important for us that that's the voice that needs to tell this story. And,
smart.
Actually, I kind of had that discussion when we were first thinking about the play, and I was like,
I ain't coming, Jay.
I know, right? I wanted to say, this is how we
right on, Ashley, right on.
Yeah, it really is. So.
Yeah, because the cultural sensibility that she will bring, that someone who's not a part of our culture cannot bring.
Right.
You can research and study till the cows come home, but unless you're part of that culture, oral culture, you know, it's still something that's over there. Right?
Yes.
Right. So I wanted to go around the circle. Thank you all so much for sharing what you shared. That actually illuminating me as well. And Jason, like, you talk about the loneliness, because as I was reading it, loneliness stood out like straight away, you know. And that's something that all human beings have dealt with in some form, right? Some form of fashion. But I wanted to ask every actor to go around and say, like, what are the similarities of you and the character's core, their essence, and what is very different from their essence? And then lastly, how have you grown as a person inhabiting these characters? So we can just take it start from, I'm sorry.
Charla Marie.
We can start from, let's start from Esther.
You hear Doc running his mouth. He wants to talk on this.
I'm just trying to get your name.
I want to start with Esther since she's the central character.
Okay. Esther, at her essence, I appreciate how she doesn't try to change people. Like, I think I identify in that way. Like, she exists as herself truthfully and presents so far as to be single till she's 35. Like, she's not too wrapped up in what everyone else got going on, which I can identify with as a queer Black person, and like, who's not so traditional in a lot of ways. Like, I think that resonates with me. So it's easy for me to be this stoic woman who does have a whirlwind of wants and needs and doesn't want to be lonely. But I think she does stop herself and ask at what cost. And like, I think Ashley does that too. But she has definitely grown to do that as a grown woman. It took a while. Do you want the second answer as well right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. In this production, I think I've had a personal lesson of empathy, and I'm still going through that. Like, I can't wait for the show to open and to hear audience laughter and gasps and tears and whatnot, because I feel like every time we do it, something different resonates with how I might understand Mrs. Van Buren's like true struggle, or like even George's true like way of moving. And it's not just about being manipulative. It's not just about being, greedy or racist, or, or with Mayme or with anyone. Like, so I think personally, I'm learning a lot about what it means to try and for others not to be so judgmental about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, George, you're up next. The same question.
At George's core and at Doc's core, I would say the similarity would be the fear of being forgotten. I think that's what resonates with me, that I get from George. Everything that he does is to be remembered. What he wants, it's to do something that has an impact on whatever that may be. And so I think that's the same for me as well. I think what's different for us is just the way he had to manipulate people to get it. I think he was much more manipulative than Doc has been. I'm much more straightforward with what I want. So I think that's a vast difference. However, I think early on when I was younger, I was definitely manipulative for sure. And I think in a sense, as an adult, I still am. I just use the powers more for good than evil, like I used to. But I think that would be the big difference, is how, in a sense, heartless George was at the end when, he doesn't do what he actually said he was going to do. And so for me, that hurt the most, that he didn't actually go through with it after what he went through to get to it. So that would be different for Doc if I was in that situation.
And how have you grown as a result of inhabiting this character?
I haven't answered that question yet. That's something that I always ask myself, what can I learn from this character, from this production? And it hasn't hit me yet. It will at some point, but
that's fair. Okay. Okay, Cheyenne, who plays Mayme from Alabama.
Honestly, I feel Mayme and I are like very, very similar. We're both open and like true to ourselves. We don't mind showing other people who we really are, because why not just show who you really are? You're just this person, so just be that person.
Yeah. We're
both business minded. Like, we here to make our money. We came to make our money, we're gonna make our money. While we do it different ways. That's what's different about us. How we doing it different ways.
It's an important difference.
But we got our money. And I feel like
she's funny.
I feel like
just to be clear,
both of us are very pro-sexual people. But I think the main difference between Mayme and I is that she is so very confident in showing off her body. Because Weléla and I have had this conversation so many times during rehearsal, where I'm just like, this. It's kind of like I'm trying to cover myself up, and that is not Mayme at all.
Right.
And that's what I've been working on mostly. Like, just being more confident and not covering myself up, because Mayme would never. Mayme is gonna let it all hang
Here
out.
it is.
Here it is. That is Mayme, and that is not Cheyenne.
So do you feel like you've grown, or you're growing as a result of inhabiting her as well, because of her boldness? Or you're still getting there?
I'm saying that I'm working on it. Because I'm bold, but I'm not Mayme bold.
Okay, right on. Okay, so let's go to Charla. I'm sorry.
Charla Marie.
Megan. We got Megan. Sorry, Megan.
Yeah, so I actually feel like I have kind of like a freaky amount of similarities to this character. For instance, I mean, and this is not a big deal. I'm just going to say this. I've never like publicly come out as a queer person, but I definitely have questioned that part of my sexuality. And so like, I connect with that moment in the play a lot. So that's one thing. Another thing is that I have definitely struggled with alcohol in the past and throughout my life. So I'm sorry. So that makes me emotional as well. I think that I am a vulnerable person as well. And so when the character is vulnerable with Esther, and maybe it is like induced through alcohol, I've been there a million times, and I've been in the position where alcohol leads you to talk more than you listen. And so I understand the flaws of the character, and I also understand the loneliness, the deep loneliness that comes with addiction. So I relate to the character a lot in that way. I think one thing that I don't necessarily relate to with her is her kind of level of vanity, or her inability. Although sometimes I have experienced moments where I talk more than I listen, I know that I take things home with me, and that I try to decipher people, and I try to decipher my friends in a way that can be caring and that can lead with a listening heart. So I think that I don't necessarily relate to her in that way, because maybe she's just too far down a certain rabbit hole, and she can't even be open to Esther or think about, how does this make Esther feel? I think a lot of times with Mrs. Van Buren, and especially, I mean, it is set in a different time. She definitely represents like these racist tendencies of the culture in the play. And so I don't really want to like brush it off as like, oh, it's just because she's a product of her generation or whatever. But really, that's really the only way I can think about it, is that sometimes Mrs. Van Buren will say things that are specifically racist, but she doesn't even like notice them. So I try to have more empathy in my life with things like that. So that's a difference that I have with the character. I think where I've grown as an actor and where I'm continuing to grow is that typically Megan is very focused on physical specificity as an actor. I'm very much like strategic. I'm a Virgo. I like to have things lined out and know exactly where everything is at all times. And this character is much more loosey-goosey. And with Weléla's direction, there's a lot more improvisational movement. And like, if you feel like sitting, go ahead and sit. If you don't, then don't. And so kind of breaking down those like building blocks that I'm used to working on as an actor has been a great challenge. And it is really fun. And it is freeing up there to just really kind of live on stage and not worry about getting to tears or getting to a certain moment every night. Just allowing the play to just live around me has been a great challenge.
Sounds liberating, actually. So Mrs. Dickson, you up next, Mira.
Oh, let's see. And the question is,
how are you similar to her essence, and how are you different? And then have you grown or learned anything from inhabiting this character?
I would say I'm similar in the way that Mrs. Dickson doesn't have children in the play, but I do. But the mother, the internal mother instinct, you know, I am a mother, I am a protector of my children, and I'm gonna do what I can to take care of them. And I feel like Miss Dickson does the same thing. She's gonna do what she needs to do to take care of her child. The way that I am different, I would say, is that I've struggled before where I've had to do a lot of things, but I haven't had to do some of the things that Miss Dickson says that she has had to do, which is give herself up to gentleman callers to make sure that she can provide for herself. I haven't had to experience that, and hope I don't have to. And what I've learned is to, you know, in doing this play, is to let go. To let go, because I am a bit of a control freak, and I know that, and I'm trying to not be that way.
Okay. I see your castmates and the director are laughing, so they clearly agree with you.
I don't know what the hell they laughing at.
Just the way you were just like, and I'm not trying to do that anymore. You know?
I'm really working on it.
Jason?
Yes, I play Mr. Marks. One way that we are similar is that we both don't want to make waves in order to upset those around us, even if it's something that may better us in the end. We still are afraid to make those waves because we don't want to upset someone. I feel that a lot from Mr. Marks. Obviously, we're quite different. He is a Jewish immigrant, and I'm just an old American white man. So I mean, it's a very different experience that I've had, that he would have had, especially in that time. So I don't know what that is like, and so I have to kind of create that for myself, because I have lived a very different life than what he would have lived. So that's a very big difference. But
okay,
some of the things that I'm learning from this experience is Mr. Marks is his little house, his little area is very small, and so there's not much room to have blocking, and it can really only move around the table. And so trying to find variety within that, or trying to have, I think he has 6 scenes, so they're very different scenes, so that I can't just rely on, well, there's the same blocking we did last time. I get a piece of fabric, we come to the table, we talk about it. There has to be more than that in there, but because there's nowhere else to go, you have to figure out, well, how is this scene different, and how is Mr. Marks getting better or worse in his life, and how is he helping or not helping Esther as she comes into his life very briefly throughout the weeks. And how does that change throughout the course of the play? And that's been a challenge. I mean, and sort of a welcome challenge. And I don't know how well I'm doing yet. We'll find out when the play closes, I guess.
Wow, he's doing well.
So, Ashley, is it challenging to know that the play rests on your shoulders?
Well, I've said this to Jason, I've said this to Doc. I don't feel like it's on my shoulders. Like, I think like the casting team has done such an amazing job with placing these actors in these roles. I really do feel like this play is shared. Every scene, whoever I'm with is bringing what is needed. And so I don't feel like anyone is leaning on me for like energy or for, you know, that magic on stage. It feels very much like each of these artists are so confident and great that it feels like I'm worried about me. And it is a lot of pressure to be up there the whole time. And like, I get thirsty. But the rest of the time, I really am just enjoying these artists because they're so good. They're just good.
We should have some water back
I can drink a couple times. Esther ain't an alcoholic, so it's rough to watch all these people just throw liquor on stage. But it does not feel like one-sided at all.
So how has this characterization challenged you, or has it?
It absolutely has.
How so?
I think finding, kind of like what Jason was saying, finding variety in Esther's journey. She has done the same thing for 18 years. So it's easy to fall into, you know, or like who she is and stick to that and like stick to who I might think this 35-year-old woman who is a business owner, like might carry herself and just stick to that. But this play is this window of her life where a lot of things change. And so as an actor, Weléla has told me so many times, like to physically let go, kind of like what we've all been saying, like to physically let go as the play moves on, because things aren't so like sure for her. As Ashley, I think it's very easy to slip into playing someone who has it all together. And I don't even care that just happened. I don't even care that you just fell down. I didn't see it, but like, that's not real.
And that's not interesting.
Exactly. And it's not interesting. Key. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so on the paper, Esther can seem, I guess, depending on who you ask, like the person that is here while everyone runs around. But no, she's got a little job going too. And she's got, you know, she falls down and she, we see her snap and we see her fall in love. We see her do all of these human things. And so reminding Ashley that, I have to find her whole world. Yes. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So.
Also to Ashley, so reading it, what was it like to inhabit an American Black person who was illiterate, but who was a visionary as a business person and a creative person? Because you have to be a creative person to create lingerie and things of that nature. So what was it like were you paying homage to your ancestors, or I don't want to put words with your mouth, so go ahead and respond in any way.
I mean, it's interesting you even say that. Like my great grandma can't read, right? Or didn't, God rest her soul. And so I watched her, like write our name on an envelope for Easter or for Christmas or something. And all of us were like, because it was like crazy, but it was also a thing that she lived life without. And she had a wonderful life. So with that, I think Esther is somewhat ashamed of it, especially around Mrs. Van Buren initially. And when Mrs. Van Buren breaks that shame, it's a surprise to her. But as Ashley, I try not to lean too much into the woe is me, I can't read, because even reading feels very like, reading English language feels very European. Like, so I don't want to put too much weight on this thing that we've been told that we have to do in order to be valuable. Yes, maybe to survive in America, but also look at Esther. She got money, she got clients, she can communicate. And so reading isn't something, it feels like a bonus skill to me, and I try to play it that way as well. And whenever it feels like it should be shameful, I guess I kind of dip my toe, but like, as Ashley, I try, we can communicate in so many ways, and we do every day. So yeah.
Right on. You see, I see you.
Okay.
I see you. Right on. That was beautiful. So and I want to pose the same question to everybody. Like, what challenged you about your characterization, or did it challenge you? Anybody can go. Okay, Megan.
Well, to be honest, I did have some of the feelings that kind of Cheyenne brought up about being so physically exposed on stage. We are in a very small space. So being like boobs to the wind and like, you know, like being very open and being confident and just portraying like a nice sexual nature that feels genuine. That was definitely a challenge for me. I mean, as Megan, you look in the mirror like, whoa, everybody's gonna see all of this body happening right now. But then I get up on stage and I don't really think about it at all. I think like I'm not worried about the way people in the community will see me. I mean, these are people that I know that I see every day. So it'll be interesting. I mean, that's just a part of being an actor, is like being vulnerable and accepting your body for what it is. Yeah, I think that was my biggest thing, was just being like, okay, I got to get into this costume and I got to own it and I got to rock this. And I can't be like fidgeting with myself while I'm up here, because I have to stay in the play and in the moment.
Okay. Then we'll go to Charla Marie.
My challenge is that I have too many clothes on. I think I'm very sexy. So I don't get a corset, and I need to talk to Emma about that later.
Yeah.
That's my challenge. I don't get to, I sprinkle a little bit of Charla Marie in there with the sexy at one point, but I'm gonna say that's what's hard.
You need more sensuality. Okay.
I don't get to be sexy in this.
Okay. Let's go to Doc.
Challenge is a semi-believable accent.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that man, I'm still struggling. So it's been hard.
Oh, okay. Okay, Jason.
For me, as I said earlier, trying to get into the mindset of what it would be like to be a Jewish immigrant at this time, and the freedoms that I would have or wouldn't have, how to honor my ancestors and my religion at the same time, but also try to move forward in a new world that's new to me and with new rules and new people, and trying to find the balance between that and not knowing which way to go. Some of it feels like I'm going backwards as the character, and some of it feels like I'm going forward, and finding the balance in there, because Mr. Marks is torn between like his ancestors and what his past means to him and his family, and where he currently finds himself and how he wants to move forward. And of course, he's 100% in love with Esther, and he can't say that or act on that. He just has to live inside of that without acting on it, and that's difficult.
That sounds juicy as hell as an actor to do.
Yes.
That sounds so juicy. So Cheyenne?
I think what's been the most challenging is relaxing on stage. Like Weléla has said, that is my home. And I'm always sitting like this. This is like how Cheyenne sits when she's not at home. This is a Cheyenne sitting down. And then if I'm at home, I'm gonna be relaxed. And I have to find relaxation on that stage.
The 1904. Yeah.
it's something that's challenging because I need to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to be at home, but I'm not at home.
Yeah.
It is hard to relax in a corset too. The way that you like sit down and move onto the bed or onto the items, it's like very stiff. And so figuring out how to look relaxed when really your body is like.
But see, I'm very comfortable in my corset. I am very comfortable in like.
Nice.
There you have it. And it's like I have the room to move and everything. I can breathe in my corset. It's just my body won't physically relax when I'm sitting down. I'm just like, okay, this is how Cheyenne sits. You're not Cheyenne, you're Mayme. Relax.
Yeah.
Have a drink.
Have a drink. So I have a question. The last question I would say, so we have like it's like 7 minutes left. Since directing and acting is a collaborative effort, how has Weléla Mar's directing enhanced your interpretation? And what direction did she give you? Like, damn, think of that is so fire. Let's go with you first, star of the play, Miss Ashley.
Okay. I think there has been a particular breakthrough with me and Doc's scenes together because Weléla has told us to do what we feel on stage, like in our moments where things are starting to unravel. And so Ashley has quite simply put, hated that because I'm having to move around without a mark or like without like there are anchors that we've set, but like to have so much freedom, like Megan, I'm a Virgo, I don't have time for that. But Weléla has made me have time for that. And she will literally this past week, was telling us, get up, move, go smoke, go do something like, and because it is things that we would do at home. And so one way that Weléla has definitely opened my mind is to live, like others have said, within the world, to really live in it and move around the stage in ways that make sense, to move around at home.
And I did that because the first 2 weeks we blocked it and then I saw what was happening. It just became very stock and nothing was breathing. The scene wouldn't take off. Didn't have any legs to it. And I realized there wasn't time on the calendar to set a rehearsal, maybe just for physical business on stage. So I know these actors are capable, right? So now in like the tail end of the second week, we know our lines, we know the anchors. So now all you have to do is find some business. You still could keep your anchors. That's all is fair. Keep your anchors, but find a task. And what happens with the actor is you then say, oh, now I'm living at home, but I get up for a reason. I just don't stand to deliver this line because that's what it's going to read as, right? So then what has happened is they're finding more tasks and they're finding more freedom. They're finding their anchors, but the scene now is living. And it's going to be different every night. Your anchors are still the same, but you get to experience this as a human being, right? And you're not anticipating the next person's lines, and you find, this is why the basin is here. I need to wash my face. This is why we have cigarettes here, because I like to smoke. It's, you know what I mean? We're no longer on set, we're in our home. And so I wouldn't spring that on an actor in the first week.
Right.
Because you're still trying to find your way. There's a million ways, you know? So I love it when actors can say, okay, I'm here today. This is where I am. I know this is where my window is, but what's out the window today? And then you get to get from there, and it gets very colorful. There's so many colors to use once you know your lines and you kind of know this is what I was directed to do, but I have freedom to move now. Because in real life, it doesn't just, nobody just sits there.
Right. Wow. So Doc,
Yes, ma'am.
same question to you.
I forgot the question. I was listening to the answers.
I was saying, how has Weléla's collaborative directing helped you grow as an actor in your role? And what one piece of direction did she give you? You were like, wow, yes, this is gonna really help me like embody this character even more fully.
Oh, gotcha. For George or for Doc, it's
For George. For both.
The freedom to be intimate and not feel like I always have to project and reach the back of the room, because we're in a theater that I don't have to do that. And so bringing that level of intimacy down to me brought a whole different level to George that I actually haven't really experienced yet on stage that I'm ready to do. But just that tidbit of bringing it down a notch and living in that moment, living in those words. And over these past couple of days, I've just been going over his lines and just more things. The words have gotten legs and life and they breathe now. And so I can see what she's saying and creating the Panama Canal for everybody who can't see it. So creating that picture in the first act for George, for me, is a challenge. And so to be able to kind of knock those walls down now with just being intimate and being vulnerable, that it's gonna be interesting, because it sets the stage for, I think, the audience to come into George that he really has, to be fans of his, and then he just messes them up in the second act. But to draw them in, that's what I hope to do with that intimacy point that she gave me.
Right on. Okay, so Charla Marie.
So I really love the anchors. I don't think I've had that before. Everything was very strategic, like, where to go and everything. And so to have the anchors and have the freedom to move about with those anchors in mind, that's very freeing, and it makes you feel like you can be your character. Another thing that as an actor, sometimes, with me anyway, I forget the specificity. And so there's one particular part where she told me to see the gas lights. And so I'm like, okay, yes. So now I see the gas lights, and I can, be more specific with what I'm doing. And I feel like that has really helped me as an actor.
And we'll in turn see the gaslights as the audience members, right? Respect. Cheyenne, you up next, my love.
I think what has really helped me is one, she's so open to changing because it's not right, it's not fitting. So we can change the action so that it makes you feel more comfortable in doing something. And there have been scenes that we have changed. We changed something today. But it works better now.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, if she sees it, she will stand right in front of you. And she shows you what you're doing. And then she'll correct you. Because I will stand there like this, and she's just like, a mirror. Why don't you do this right here? And it's like, okay, I see what I'm doing now, and I see what you want. I will change it. Thank you.
Bravo, Weléla. Bravo. I love it. That's fine. Megan, you up next, love.
Yeah, so I think one thing that was really important to me, and it happened very early, it was actually in my first maybe rehearsal up on our feet, was that Weléla said that she wanted the play and my character specifically to be jovial. And it was one of the first notes that I wrote in my script was jovial. And I think that was something that I didn't necessarily think about the character upon preparing for this process. I knew that Mrs. Van Buren was quirky and interesting, but I thought of her as a little bit more waspy and like snotty. And so inserting at the very beginning the fun nature of the character and making her joyous and giving her jokes and giving her laughter, it just creates another layer of depth for the person, and it makes the sorrow that much harder to swallow. And so I think that that was something that's really great, and that's what I have had a ton of fun discovering, is like, where can I throw a laugh in? Where can I throw like a twirl or whatever, and just give this character more physical life and activity? And then it also helps with the playful nature of the play, where I'm on stage actually like, I'm going to make Ashley laugh with this line today. And Megan thinks that, and it's not going to be there every time, but maybe one time I'll just be like, I'm going to say this line at you differently. And so it keeps it interesting and keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
I didn't think that Mrs. Van Buren wasn't depressed. I knew exactly what the writer was putting on the page, but I knew that she also had this way, I just saw it. She wanted to make Esther laugh because she was so sad. She's so sad. And the only reason that I said jovial was I knew that Megan can do it. And what has happened is exactly what she said. Mrs. Van Buren comes off as if she's so got it together and she's so happy, but she's not. She's that sad friend who has a very, her marriage is on the rocks, if there even is a marriage at that point. And her only friend is this Black seamstress.
So she was masking.
But,
We'll let it through the front door.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Jason, we're going to end it on you, my friend.
Mine is a little different. I got the privilege of being in like a production meeting. So when we were kind of creating the look of this world we're going to create, and creating the set and the fun, and talking with Weléla and the design team about how do we put this world on this stage and what does that look like, and what do we add and what do we subtract, but still keep the same world. And part of the fun with that was the sound design and how I feel like it's a unique sound design for this play. And Weléla has played a lot of the playlist throughout the rehearsal process, and that has helped me find this world that Mr. Marks is inhabiting. Some of it is his world, and some of it, he doesn't belong in that world, and he doesn't really get it. But he's intrigued by it, and he's like, this is why I came to this country, because I'm going to be inundated with all of this different culture, and it's something that I can spread my wings a bit. And again, as I said earlier, Mr. Marks is debating whether he can actually spread his wings or not. But yeah, I felt that as an actor in the rehearsal room because of that soundtrack that really spoke to me. So I was glad to have that.
Well, I enjoyed so much talking with you all. I'm actually grown as an actress, just listening to you all, and a director, listening to you all talk about your process and how collaborative Weléla is and how she has enhanced your interpretation. But as we know, it's a collaboration. So it's clearly your interpretation and her direction married, right? And you presented to us to experience as an audience member. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me, and you all kill it, slay it, working with. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
See you. Have a good night, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.